Welcome back to the grind. A few months ago, someone posted an interesting question on the Facebook group Rollerblading, the largest Facebook group dedicating to, you guessed it, rollerblading. The question was about who should be on the Mount Rushmore of rollerblading. The question generated lots of activity with many people posting their opinions about this person or that person, so I decided to settle the matter through a poll, with everyone nominated by the blading community on the ballot, and one could only vote for 4 nominees. A total of 995 votes were submitted. Here are the results. Tied for last with only 1 vote each were Matt Salerno, Jeff Stockwell, and Gonzo Jaquez. Matt Salerno was definitely a pioneer as the first X Games Street gold medalist in 1995. There was a 4-way tie with 2 votes, each for Sven Buckhurst, Josh Petty, Eric Shrine, and Colin Kelso. Colin's brother Sean Kelso got 3 votes, as did John Bolino and Eric Bailey. Coming in with 4 votes were Soichiro Kanashima from Japan and Maddie Mance, who sadly passed away in 2020. I have to say I really admired Maddie Mance because he was a pro blader and won silver in the 1996 X Games Street competition when he and I were both 15 years old. Coming in with 5 votes were Louis Zamora and vert pioneer Tom Fry, who won gold in the 1995 X Games vert competition and won silver in the 1996 X Games vert competition. 6 people voted for Brian Bell, another OG from the 90s who was ahead of his time with his massive rail transfers and kink rail grinds. Sadly, Brian Bell passed away in 2014. In a 3-way tie with 7 votes were Vinnie Minton, Renee Hulgreen, and Mike Murda Johnson. I remember the Viking Renee Hulgreen was a monster on vert ramp. He won gold in the 1996 X Games vert competition. Eito Yasutoko, the older of the high-flying Yasutoko brothers from Japan, got 12 votes. My favorite rollerblader from the 90s, Randy Roadhouse Spicer, got 17 votes, as did Chris Farmer. Aaron Feinberg, winner of the 1997 X Games Street Gold Medal, earned 17 votes. And beating Feinberg by 1 vote was Montre Livingston, who is extremely skilled in both inline and quad skating. Coming in with 27 votes was Frankie Morales. Frankie was a playable character in the 2002 video game Aggressive Inline. Frankie is developing a new rollerblading video game called Frankie's World. Okay, now we are in the top 10 bladers who were nominated for a spot in the Mount Rushmore of rollerblading. Coming in at number 10 with 30 votes, the only female on this list, the only woman who can fly as high as the men. You know who I'm talking about, the Brazilian phenom Fabiola da Silva. Fabiola burst into the international scene as a 16-year-old girl who dominated vert for years. With 7 X Games gold medals and top placements in many other competitions, Fabiola is one of the most decorated female athletes in all action sports. Coming in at number 9 with 38 votes is Takeshi Yasutoko, the younger of the Yasutoko brothers. Takeshi was a child prodigy on wheels and turned pro at 9 years old. He is now 37 years old and still flying high. Number 8 with 44 votes is Brian Shima. Shima is considered one of the greatest in the sport, and he probably has had more pro skates than any other person. His career was cut short by a severe injury when he attempted to jump from a water tower. You can see that in my recent video, Rollerbladers versus Immovable Objects. Number 7 with 52 votes is Alex Broskow. At 38 years old, Alex is no young buck, but he is still competing and shredding the streets. Number 6 is Dustin Latimer, racking up 74 votes. DL has appeared in various classic rollerblading videos such as Coupe de Tat, Brain Fear Gone, and Words, in which he famously grinded all over his car. The number 5 spot goes to Brian Aragon with 83 votes. Brian Aragon was one of the smoothest and technically consistent bladers. He had a nearly perfect style of rollerblading in both street and park, and actually has a skate park named after him. Brian retired from pro skating at the age of 29 during the peak of his career, but he is considered by many as the GOAT, or greatest of all time. However, this is not a conversation about the GOAT of aggressive rollerblading, but about the Mount Rushmore of aggressive rollerblading. Mount Rushmore represents the 4 most influential individuals that have shaped the sport of aggressive rollerblading. So, here are the top 4 most influential rollerbladers. Coming in at number 4 is Chris Haffey with 100 votes. Haffey is one of the top street and competition skaters. In 2011, Haffey broke the world record for longest jump on rollerblades when he jumped a gap of 30 meters. That is more than 98 feet. He also has the world record for longest rail grind, having grinded a 666-foot rail twice. Chris Haffey knows how to go big, and his recent stunts on the Nitro Circus put aggressive rollerblading back on TV, such that some credit Haffey for saving rollerblading. The number 3 spot goes to Arlo Eisenberg with 120 votes. Arlo is an OG who has been there since the earliest days of the sport. He skated in the first ever X Games in 1995 and won gold in the X Games street competition in 1996. Arlo was the face of the sport, and he put the aggressive in aggressive inline skating with his provocative, non-conformist attitude. Arlo was a creative force behind Senate, an inline skating brand that helped fuel the explosive growth of aggressive rollerblading in the 90s. 131 people voted for the legendary John Julio, putting him in the number 2 spot. I first saw John Julio in the 1995 classic movie Hoax 2, and had the pleasure of meeting him 26 years later in 2021. Well in his 40s, John is still a highly skilled skater, but he is also a highly respected businessman. He ran the Velo Skates brand for 15 years and now runs Them Skates since 2018. He also organizes Blading Cup, one of the biggest events for the inline skating community in North America. Alright, now the number 1 spot with 146 votes goes to the godfather of aggressive inline skating, the one and the only airman, Chris Edwards. Chris Edwards performed the first ever rail grind on rollerblades in 1991, which represented the birth of a new sport. Chris was one of the main skaters in the 1993 skating movie Dare to Air and in the 1993 sports comedy film airborne. Today, December 22, 2023, Chris turns 50, and he is still going airborne, remains very involved with the sport that he started, and earned an undisputed spot in the Mount Rushmore of rollerblading. Interestingly, the real Mount Rushmore National Memorial is a monument of George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, Theodore Roosevelt, and Abraham Lincoln, 4 United States presidents chosen to represent the nation's birth, growth, development, and preservation, respectively. It's only fitting that the aggressive rollerblading community selected Chris Edwards, Arlo Eisenberg, John Julio, and Chris Haffey, 4 skaters chosen to represent the sport's birth, growth, development, and preservation, respectively. Let me know who you think belongs in the Mount Rushmore of rollerblading by leaving a comment. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe to support this channel. Thank you for watching and grind on!